my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, sweetie. Yeah, okay. But the dawn is breaking. It's early morn. The taxi's waiting. He's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could die. Already I'm so lonesome I could just die, sweetie. Oh, don't die. Yeah, that's how lonesome I am. So kiss me, hookah, hey, BOOZHOO. And welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO. Over here, the lovely and the talented. Oh, would you get out of here? Natasha. Ikadon BOOZHOO, Weenie Mushain. Say hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. Yeah. And over here, we've got the what am I going to say about you? The not so young and not so lovely Michael Lyons. He's sitting over here. Ikadon BOOZHOO, Niji. Say hello, brother. Hello, brother. Yeah. So how you doing today? Oh, I'm good. Yeah. Did you get your cup of makere mashkiki wabu? Did you get your medicine water? Get your black medicine water there? Yep. How do you take your coffee, Michael? Oh, I like my coffee like I like my women. How's that? You know, bitter, hot. Okay. Instant. Yeah. Anyway, let's see who's here. Daniel Black is in the house. Bonjour, Daniel Black. I'm never the first person here, but hey ho, Mino Gigajabe. Yep, you were the first one to call in and roll call. And then there's old Jim Dunn. Yo, what's up, Jim? Are you chilling in a crib? That's how the kids talk now. Are you chilling in a crib? Yeah. You know, I remember when the big change happened. I was sitting around out in a lawn chair with a bunch of elders in Cass Lake. And the year was like, I don't know. I'm going to say 1990 maybe. 91. And it wasn't the 80s anymore. And I was sitting, with a bunch of elders, and some teenagers walked by, and they had the sagging pants and, the hat on sideways. And it was right after that movie, Boys in the Hood, came out. And all the elders were kind of laughing. And they were all like, hey, look at these wannabes. They all saw that movie, Boys in the Hood. Now they're all a bunch of gang. They wanted bees, It's like, hey, you kids, you're Indian, remember? And they just kind of laughed it off. Little hikes. A couple years goes by, and pretty soon we got gangs coming out of the woodwork. I don't know. That's kind of a sad topic to start the show on. Hey, BOOZHOO. Shady Side Ice. Shady Side's here. BOOZHOO, Shady Side. Natasha says hello. And so today, our Ojibwe phrase of the day. Anin. Eji chikayan. What are you doing? Hey, Natasha. Anin. Eji chikayan. Gawin gagu. She says, Gawin gagu. Nothing. You're not doing anything? No, just sitting here. Gindash? She says, and you? Me? What am I doing? I'm putting on a live stream. I'm putting on a Bamadazi Zibi, a live stream. That's how I'm translating live stream in Ojibwe. Bamadazi Zibi? Yeah, it's kind of like a living river, or being a live river. A live stream. I still don't know what YouTube would be in Ojibwe. We could probably figure out something. Everybody gives like honor the Navajo code talkers. They won the Second World War single-handedly by using their Navajo language. So amazing was Navajo. And they're not even calling themselves Navajos anymore. They're Dene. But the Japanese or whoever were fighting, Chinese, I don't know. I'm not a historian. They couldn't crack the code. It's like, well, yeah, but also it was like 2 layers deep, because there's no Navajo word for tank, for artillery, They had to like make up words to describe an English word like tank in their language. And we could have done that. Nobody asked us. Daniel Black says, is Natasha womanizing the phone calls? Or womanizing, I see where my mind is. Are you womaning the phone calls? Oh yeah, I'll woman the phone calls. If anybody calls, you can count on me womaning them. Don't say manning, because that's sexist. Yeah, girl power, sister. Yeah, I am woman, hear me roar. Nah. Yeah, you are. Yep. Oh, it's such a hard time to be a woman. Gotta fight for your rights to party. Did you go on that march? Which march? The one they had, I don't know, 5 years ago. Oh, the big pink hat march? They do that every year. Do they really? Yeah. You gotta fight for equal pay, and you gotta fight for, I don't know. So you want equal pay for every job? I don't care one way or the other, but I think that's what they want. Yeah. They want equal. There's still that wage gap myth. Oh, women only make 73 cents for every dollar a man makes. That's sexist. And then they go, well, yeah, no, it's not. That's not how it works. Being a septic tank cleaner, being a truck driver, being a plumber, doing these hard jobs that men do pays better. And over the course of their lives, men work more hours. Women take time off to raise kids and that. So they actually earn 73 cents. I'm not saying you're lazy ladies. You're raising kids, and you're somebody has to do the fun jobs. It doesn't pay as much to be a daycare worker as being an oil rig operator. But it's not like the jobs, like, hey fellas, don't tell the ladies in the office, but I'm going to pay you $0.25 an hour more. Stupid ladies. If the wage gap was true, then nobody would ever hire a guy. It'd just be too expensive. They're like, why would I ever hire a man? I can get the women for cheaper. Why am I talking about feminism? I don't know. Yeah. You don't know what we go through. Yeah, that's right. Girl power, sweetie. Looking out on the morning rain. Anin, Eji Chikayan. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Are you making things happen? Are you creating something? Are you crushing it? Did you figure out your purpose? Every time somebody has a near-death experience, they go up and they meet Jesus, and they go, it's always the same question. What's the meaning of life? And I don't think most people even understand the question. It's like, what do you mean, meaning? Is there any meaning to why? Why was I born? Well, some people say you're born to do something. You have a purpose. You know, there's some, and that's the mystery you're supposed to find out. What is your purpose in life? How will you live? How should you live? You know? Are we just random, no, back to evolution? Do we just evolve from an egg with a magic little fertilization? Or was there a purpose? Did you come down here? For some people, that purpose might be to have children. For some people, Michelangelo had a purpose, it seems, to be an artist and to create great works of art. What is your purpose? What are you doing? Are you living your purpose, or are you just reacting to life? I spent a lot of years just reacting constantly. You think your purpose is to, not die. Don't starve to death. Don't go homeless. So you're going to have to figure it out, how to keep that from happening, and your purpose in life will be determined by that activity of trying to survive. So I'll be an offset press operator. My purpose in life is to make copies. Making copies for the people. That is why I was born. It certainly seemed like it when I'm spending 8 hours a day doing it. That's your purpose. But when you're not living your purpose, you can tell. It doesn't feel right. Huh, honey? No, it really doesn't. I was made for a reason. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. And I can't get enough of you, baby. Can you get enough of me? Sometimes we just break into song. But it has to be a Kiss tune, huh? When we finally write the musical, the NANABOOZHOO stage show musical, it's going to be all Kiss tunes. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, Anin, Eiji Chikayan, what are you doing? Which brings up an interesting cartoon. The OJIBWE cartoon of the day by Michael Lyons. This is OJIBWE, and here, what do we have here? Got a little squirrel, a little OJIBWE, and a mamengwa, a butterfly. And the butterfly is saying, "BOOZHOO OJIBWE." Oh, that's also a name of one of Michael's books. BOOZHOO OJIBWE. Hello, red squirrel. Anin, Eiji Chikayan. Anin, Eiji Chikayan. What are you doing? A little butterfly wants to know what OJIBWE is doing. And so OJIBWE says, Gawin gegu. Gawin gegu, nothing. Gindash. Gawin gegu, nothing. And you, Gindash? And you, what are you doing? You ask me what I'm doing. What are you doing? The butterflies living the butterfly's purpose. Mamengwa's figured it out. Mamengwa had to spend all that time in quiet contemplation. Mamengwa was like, he used to be a caterpillar. And then he kind of worked on himself. And he cocooned himself away. And he evolved. See, evolution's real. It just happens in one life. And he became a butterfly. So he's asking Red Squirrel, what are you doing? Gawin gegu. Gawin means no. And gegu means thing. So together it's like nothing. Gawin gegu. That actually could have been spelled as one word, I think. Nobody says, oh, I'm no thing. Nothing. La la la. Do do do. A-okay. And I'm on my way to where the... So we figured out the green screen technology, but it was like a red blanket technology. And we were playing around yesterday afternoon. We figured out how to set the background to look like the set of Sesame Street. And it kind of worked, but we really do need to buy a green screen. But it didn't work well enough. You could kind of fake it. But then you realize, that Sesame Street set, that's just a city, kind of. I mean, I guess you recognize it. You can kind of tell that one where the stairwell is. Womanizing. Are your eyes painted on? Yeah. I have a hard time reading the text. It's far away. What am I doing? Gonna brew some coffee. Daniel Black's gonna make some coffee. Oh, you're the guy. You're the one guy who's gonna have some coffee first thing in the morning. That's the one thing that brings people together. At least here in America, especially in the Midwest. Coffee in the morning. There's very little diversity in behavior when it comes to your morning routine. Everybody's got to get up, make some makare mashkiki wabu, make some coffee, and start your day. I started drinking coffee when I was 6. My old grandpa, he was from the old world. He was from that world that just treated children like little people. Nowadays parents treat their kids like, I don't know what. But my grandpa just lived his life, and then, I would hang around. And so I remember he was always up early, and I could hear him walking around upstairs. So I'd get out of bed and go upstairs and see him. And he'd be like, oh, here he comes. A little 6-year-old. Well, I guess I better get him a cup of coffee. That's what I'm doing. So here you go. Make me some coffee with old milk and sugar. We'd sit there on a table, staring out at the lake. I think he'd read the paper or something. I'm not sure where he got the paper. It was probably yesterday's paper, We lived way too far out in the boonies. Way too far out. We didn't have paper delivery in LaPorte. But I don't even remember him talking that much, honestly. Sometimes I just sit there and drink coffee, hang out with him. But sometimes he'd tell stories. And he'd teach me how to say little words in Ojibwe like coffee, He talked a little bit about, running away from boarding school. Talked a little bit about fighting in the war, World War II. I did a whole bit one day. I was getting annoyed that people were using the term "ogichida" so casually. It's like, hey, I signed up for college. You're real ogichida. Good for you. What classes are you taking? Oh, I'm taking ceramics and Ojibwe. Oh, what an ogichida. It's like, do you know what that word means? That's a warrior. Oh, well, I'm a warrior. It's like using the term artist. It waters it down when you call everybody a artist. It's the same thing with a warrior. A warrior is somebody who goes to war, who fights in an actual war. Oh yeah, well, I fought in the war against, plaque. I'm an ogichida because I brush my teeth and I floss. I'm a real, plaque warrior. It's like, you got to quit using that term. Just because you go to college doesn't make you an ogichida. If anything, it makes you kind of gullible. But, fine. You want to go to college? Do what you want. I'm impressed with anybody who wants to, follow a dream, try to better themselves, I guess. I'm actually more impressed with people who go on diets. People who try to lose weight. I remember my old buddy Pat worked at the tribal college with us. He was really chunky, chubby, pretty fat, He'd be the first one to admit it. He was like 275 pounds. And then, we didn't see each other for a few years. And then I saw him, and he had lost 100 pounds. He looked great. I was like, holy man, what happened to you? He goes, oh, yeah. I got one of them treadmills, and the wife and I decided, we were sick of being fat, so we started working out. Cut out all the sugar, Lost the weight slowly. And I was like, oh, wow. That's an Ogijida. I mean, well, no, he's not. He didn't go to war. But, it's cool to, try to improve yourself. But don't call yourself a warrior. Because my grandpa, he was a real Ogijida. When World War II broke out, there was very little, I don't even think my grandparents had a TV. They would have read about a war breaking out with the Germans and whatever. Or maybe at the movie theaters, they'd have the newsreels. Oh, yeah. Remember that? And they'd show highlights or whatever. But they say that the Ojibwe guys, maybe it was all Indian people, they didn't even have to get drafted. The numbers of people who just signed up and volunteered were really high. And it was because they were an Ogijida culture, a warrior culture. I kind of doubt that my grandpa and his friends even cared what the issue was. I think they probably heard the term war, and they went, oh, wow, there's an actual war? Yeah, okay. So where's the line to sign up, and where's the line to get my free gun? Where's my license to kill? So, they signed up happily. And then you fast forward so many years, 75 years, or whatever it's been. And these young college punks, oh, I'm a real Ogijida. Why did the Native Americans ever fight for this racist country? They had a colonized mind. It's like, no, shut up. They were Ogijida. They were warriors. They didn't bother themselves with the particulars of, it was almost Shakespearean. They were Ogijida, they were warriors. There was a war, so they went to fight the war. And, yeah. And this is why we honor the Ogijida with the flag song. First thing, it's the first song at the powwow, huh, sweetie? Yeah, it is. How's it go? Way down, hey, way da, hey, Yahweh ho, way da, way ho, Yahweh ho. Yahweh ho, weda ho, way, hey, oh. Tori Ogijida. I don't sing that song very well, if I'm being honest. What do you mean? I'm not much of a powwow singer. I'm going to try, but my voice is too low, and I've been too colonized. I can sing, like contemporary lounge singing. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. A lot of people don't know this, but the town, Denver, Colorado, the town was named after a singer named John Denver. This is true, you kids. Look it up. And not on Wikipedia. Just because it's on Wikipedia, it doesn't mean it's true. They're going to say it the other way around, but, when a person is great enough, when society deems somebody so important, they'll name a street after him. Oh, Martin Luther King Boulevard. Oh, whatever. John F. Kennedy Jr. Avenue. I don't know what. Trump Plaza. They name stuff after people. Well, John Denver was so loved, so respected, that the whole city of Denver got together and said, we're going to name ourselves after John Denver. Rocky Mountain High. But John Denver was kind of a creep. John Denver, people forgot that John Denver was a rock star. At the end of the day, behind all that branding of him being, just a mountain man with a simple guitar, singing about the country roads, singing about love, was that he was a celebrity, multimillionaire, alcoholic, whatever. And so that song, Leaving on a Jet Plane. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye. He paints a picture. His bags are packed, he's ready to go. He doesn't want to wake her up. But the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. The taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could die. The taxi's out there and he's just sad. This is why they named their town after him. It's beautiful. So kiss me and smile for me. The problem is it kind of sounds like a coffee commercial. that intro would be a good beginning, The dawn is breaking, Folgers in your cup. The taxi's waiting, it's time to get up. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Muckaday mush kiki waboo. When are we going to start our own coffee company? Okay. But in the end, what that song's really about is that big rock star guy's got to leave. He's doesn't know when he's coming back. He's not making any promises. There's been many other women, He's cheated on her multiple times, but they didn't mean a thing. How's that line go? The time has come to leave. There's so many times I've let you down. So many times I've played around. Why does it hurt when I pee? Get yourself checked. I'm kind of a creep. I've got herpes. And he goes like, oh yeah, but when I come back, I'll bring your wedding ring. I'll bring your wedding ring. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me and my herpes. Hold me like you'll never let me go or be cured of it. I've got herpes. My name is John Denver. And then he crashes in an airplane that he was flying. I'm crashing in my airplane because I didn't treat women well. Whoa, Denver should change the name to something else. What would be a better name for Denver? What do you think? How about Jim Croce, Colorado? Croce, Colorado. after Jim Croce. If I could save time in a bottle, words could make wishes come true. Yeah. But, John Denver. See who else is here. Jessica's here. Bonjour, Jessica. Shady Side. Howdy, Jessica. Nanaboozhoo sure improved his ability to move his mouth at the same time words come out. Yeah, that first episode yesterday. Oh, that was weird. Didn't even know how to, shut off the camera. I'm still have trouble shutting off the camera sometimes, actually. Well, yeah. So kiss me. But yeah, the very first BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO show, we wrote a song. Makere mashkiki wabu, makere mashkiki wabu, niwi aeon, makere mashkiki wabu. But it's just putting Ojibwe to three blind mice, see how they run, or whatever song. Da 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 da. See, I don't even know the original song anymore. I thought it was Three Blind Mice, but now that sounds weird. Okay, hey, BOOZHOO, Jim. What's going on, my brother? What's going on, Niji? Anin, Eiji Chikayan. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Is this really what you thought your life would be like when you were a little kid? Oh, yeah, when I grow up, I'm just going to have coffee and watch a puppet show. Yeah, nice life choices, Jim. I'm telling you this. I know it's hard to hear. But I wouldn't be much of a friend if I didn't call you out on some stuff. You're making poor choices. You should be at the gym, Jim. Oh yeah, remember that? All that talk. Oh, this year, my New Year's resolution. I'm not gonna squander my morning routine with just drinking coffee and watching puppet shows. That's for kids. It's called Arrested Development, Jim. And all of us have come together. All of us here on the BOOZHOO crew. Nah, I'm just pulling your chain, Niji. That's bullying. You think that was bullying? Yeah, you can't tease anymore because it's bullying. Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting. We got new rules in the culture war. No more teasing. That was really bad. When I was a kid, you just teased your friends to death. It was all fat jokes about their moms. And about your own mom. My mom's name is Jan. And my friends used to call her Wham Bam, thank you, Jan. Like, come on, you guys, this is my mom. Show a little respect. Boys are awful. They like to tease each other. It's a type of hazing, I think it's kind of like, the old days when a boy would become a man. The elders of the village would come to the young boy and take him from the mother's arms. Sometimes the mother would be crying, "No, don't take my little baby." But the men did not care. They were like, "No, we must initiate this child, this boy, into manhood." And they would have a series of difficult tasks, that the boy would have to face and overcome. And they would impart wisdom that only the men could impart. And they would set that boy out. Sometimes it would be a hunting party. And he'd have to kill for the first time. And there'd be ceremonies and male camaraderie. Well, eventually, that evolved into all our dads either had jobs or they weren't around at all. Boys didn't have any. The elders stopped initiating us into manhood. So we had to do it for each other in ways of, rites of passage. By getting, bullied by older kids. And then when you were an older kid, you could bully other kids. It's great. Oh no, but it hurts everyone's feelings. That's why everyone's addicted now. It's like, the kids got to toughen up. You know, they talk about homophobia. And I won't even use the word here because this is a children's show. But you know that the real F word that refers to burning a group of sticks. English people call cigarettes this word. Well, guess who's been called that word more than any gay guy ever? Me. In the 80s, you know, your buddy's like, hey, fag, what's going on? You know, don't be a fag. Oh, you fell off your bicycle? Well, get back up. Don't be a fag. You know, it's like, oh, that's hate speech. It's like, really? I think we need to reclaim that word, just boys in general. It's like, no, that doesn't belong to gay men. That's a word that we've been called. You know, that's our word. You guys can't use that word. Unless you've ever been a young boy who's been harshly, you know, helped. Oh, hey, la la la. Jim, that is a hell of a bicep. Yeah, Jim, you got to be working out. What are you wasting your time? What are you doing? Anin, eji chikayan. Every once in a while, you got to stop and just take inventory. What am I doing with my life? You know? What is the actual content of how I've chosen to live? You know? Your diet is one of it. Oh, I'm the kind of person who drinks a 2-liter bottle of Diet Pepsi every day. And I don't eat vegetables. And, you know, and I smoke a pack a day. And I get drunk 4 times a week. And I have a job that I don't like, but I pretend to like. And I do just enough not to get fired. And I ease the pain with alcohol and bad relationships. That's not what I do anymore. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing? And is it the right thing to do? You know, some people never think about what they're doing. They don't know they can. You know, they just react to stuff. What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm doing what I have to do. You know, I have to go to work. No, you don't. You choose that every day. Well, then I'll lose my job. Well, yeah, there might be consequences, but you don't have to go to work. Well, it's floor washing day. Gizibigis, gonna gay, gija good. It is a day we wash floors. Oh, is it? You don't have to. What are you doing? Oh, I'm washing the floor. It's floor washing day, don't you know? Don't you know? This invisible person I'm pretending to be is Norwegian. Don't you know? Our people, we went thousands and thousands of years. I can't do a Norwegian accent. Oh, God. Hey, sweetie. Yeah? You got a phone call. Oh, all right. What line? It'll be on line 2. Line 2. All right, caller. You're on the air. Hey, yo, it's me. It's Sylvester Stallone. Oh, hey, Sly. How you doing? I get situated here. You're on the other side today for some reason. Oh, yeah, I just wanted to call in and tell you how much I enjoy your show. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, you know, what are you doing? Are you training? I'm not really training. I'm just kind of, I guess I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm trying to make the live stream better every time. Hey, you know, that's great. That's how winning is done. Yeah, that's what I hear. That is how winning is done. You know how else winning is done? How's that? By running. Oh, yeah, you're a big morning runner, aren't you? Yeah, you know, sometimes I'll get up really early in the morning. I'll think myself you know, what you call it, a glass of eggs. I'll go for a little run with my dog. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty inspiring. You kind of inspired a lot of people to start morning running. You know, I didn't know I'd become such a figure in pop culture and everything, but, you know, it keeps me in shape. Yeah, it sure does, huh? So anything else I can do for you today? You know, just one thing. What's that? I want you to believe in yourself. Believe in myself? That's right. Even if nobody believes in you, like when I fought Apollo, nobody believed in me, but I had to believe in myself. Yeah, but technically you lost, right? Well, yeah, I lost, but I won. You know, I had a moral victory because I went the distance with Apollo. Yeah, that's right. You went the distance, so it didn't matter. That's right. And so if you believe in yourself, you have to believe in yourself. You have to drink eggs in a glass and go running. You know why? Why? Because that's how winning's done! Okay. Yikes. All right, I got to go, man. All right, I'll see you later. GOFUNDME, Minowa. All right, thanks for calling in, Rocky. Yeah, okay. Or Sly. Yeah, that's right, Sly. I'm not Rocky. I'm Sly Stallone. Oh, he freaks me out a little bit. Sylvester Stallone does? Yeah. He's just a little unhinged. Yeah, but it's cool that he calls in. Yeah, but, you know, if you want to get inspired to change something about your life, watch Rocky 1. You know, Rocky 1, the real theme of that movie is everybody identifies with Rocky because Rocky is a guy who gets a chance. You know, the movie opens with him kind of past his prime. And then through weird opportunity, he gets a chance to have it all, you know. And so everyone in the audience, you know, they have their own, it's like, what would I do if they just give me a chance, you know? And what he did was prepare really, really hard, you know. And that's what he was sort of inspiring. So, you know, I never wanted to be a boxer. I remember seeing that going, oh, wow. What if someone gave me a chance of being a rock star? What if they said, okay, you can play in Kiss in 2 months? You know, how much would I practice the guitar? Probably every day. I still want to be in Kiss. I know you do. Yeah. I mean, that would be stupid. They're just about to retire. All right, you guys. Well, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to mahjong. I'm going to go. It's time. We should be going. And I'm going to let Natasha come up here and say hello. You want to come up here, sweetie, and say hello to the folks? Yeah, sure. All right. Okay. Hoa. Miigwech. Kanawabi egg. Thank you for watching. And I will see you again. GOFUNDME. Minowa. Hoa. All right, Michael, you know what to do. I sure do. Okay. Okay there, sweetie. All right, just give me 1 second. Yeah, the camera's still rolling. I know, hold on. Where did I put my glove? You had it just a second ago. Is this still on your hand? No. Michael, have you seen my glove? Yeah, it's over here. BOOZHOO. We're gonna be right there. Just give me a second, all right? Just gotta put on the glove. Just gotta check my hair in the mirror here. Just gotta do a little vocal. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That was horrible. Yeah, sorry. I think I just scared the neighbors too. Oh, hey, you know what I saw yesterday? What's that? A little kitten. Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Let's get the BOOZHOO crew to weigh in. BOOZHOO! How you doing? Natasha and Indigenous Cause. Yeah, it's good to be back. So, yeah, yesterday, sweetie, did you see that? What's that?
There's a little kitten living underneath our house.
You're kidding.
Yeah. It looks just like Bagheera, only little. Yesterday I was coming back and I noticed there was some tracks in the snow that led right into our little crawl space. And there's also like a tiny little basement room down there. And a little black cat, just scruffy, was crawling into this little space between the pipe thing. And we've had the space heater on down there for the last couple of weeks. And so I think he's some stray. He doesn't look more than a few months old. He looks really little. So I don't know what to do. What do you guys think? Do I call like the pound? Or do I have to somehow coax him out? Do you want another cat in this house?
Absolutely not.
Come on! It's a little cute kitten. Maybe Bagheera would like him. Or her. Maybe it's a little girl.
I think Bagheera would probably eat another cat.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah, we got a situation. I put out some cat food and some water for him. And can you go down there today? And I don't know. Just make sure he's got food and water and all that. Yikes. Little kitten. I can't believe he survived the 32 below weather and stuff. Oh, it's Brandy Marie. BOOZHOO, Brandy. Are you going to keep it? Michael doesn't want one. I mean, he's already got one. He thinks Bagheera's going to eat another one. So I guess we'll have to bring him to the rescue place. But you know what we can do? We could take some video and advertise. He's really cute. You could probably find a home right away. So we'll see. Jessica says, feed him. Yeah, I fed him yesterday. We'll go down when the sun comes up. Weesony, BOOZHOO, Weesony. Weesony says, feed it and it'll never leave. Yeah, I know, it's too late. We've already fed him. But we can't, he's a little kitten. I halfway think that he's got like a family nearby who's looking for him. Maybe we should, what we could do? We could follow those tracks in the snow. See if he came from a house. Because he couldn't have been living outside. He would have died.
Yeah, I don't know how they live.
How do these animals not just freeze to death when it's 32 below? Like even the deer. I expect the crows to just drop out of the sky like little black, popsicles. It's been so cold. But it's going to warm up now. I think the worst is behind us. Real animals are designed to survive outside without people. Yeah, it's so weird. Sometimes it's like they're designed to live here and we're not. And, we're not well equipped to deal with the elements, Except if you think, well, we build houses and stuff. Jessica says, he can. I imagine cats can go into a hibernation state if it's cold enough. I wonder, do cats hibernate?
I don't know. I've never heard of that, but maybe they do.
And it's weird, like, cats also live like in deserts and in Egypt and stuff, in the jungle. They're all over the place. Like, what climate is a cat supposed to live in? And the house cat's weird anyway, too. It's kind of designed just to be a house. In a way, they're like wild. And I don't know why people always say, oh, I like cats. They're so independent. It's like, really? Not my cat. My cat needs me to feed him, to clean up every few hours after, the cat box. He's totally like socially codependent. He'll cry out the door, oh, give me attention. Pick me up like a little baby. Yeah, my cat's not independent at all. Can't even sleep alone. Hey, Sheila's here. Bonjour, Sheila. Jessica says, I've got an outside guy who I've been feeding on and off for 4 years. He's an independent guy, doesn't want to get too close, but likes to come to the yard every day. Can we just raise that little black cat under the house? That seems, I don't know, is that cruel or nice? Sometimes I feel guilty that Bagheera, we never let him outside. He's going to spend the rest of his life never going outside. You know, my grandmother got me freaked out. She saw a little cat. I don't think she saw it. I think she saw it on TV. How an eagle grabbed a little cat. And so she was always afraid eagles were going to grab her cats and she wouldn't let them outside. And now I'm afraid of the same thing. I think eagles are just going to come out of the sky. And we live right by a road, so I don't want him to get hit. But, you know, could we have 2 cats and one we just don't ever let inside? We just feed under the house? You know, maybe that's not such a bad life for an outdoor cat. To have a whole basement and then to be able to come and go as he pleases. I don't know. Dun, 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 dun. See these eyes so green. I can stare for 1,000 years, colder than the moon. Anin Ejijikeyan. What are you doing? They call that song Cat People, but he never says cat people. It's like cat people, parentheses, putting out fire with gasoline. David Bowie, let's dance. And I've been putting out fire with gasoline. Ooh, rock and roll. Oh, don't play that drum. You're a lady. Look at that, elders. It's a lady on a drum. Oh, that is not our way. Ladies should stand behind the men and sing, but they must never, ever sit at the drum and do this. Wait a hey, wait a hey. Ah! Ha! Nah. Some people get really bent out of shape when people don't observe cultural traditions. You know, they don't like women being on the drum. But I've been seeing since the 90s women fancy dancers, you know, cross-dressing dancers. You know, you'll see some girls in like men's dance regalia. Nobody says a thing. You really like my limousine. You like the way the wheels roll. You like my 7-inch leather heels and going to all of the shows. But, do you love me? Talk about codependent. Do you love me? I mean, do you? Do you love me? I want you to. I need you to. And you know, I'm so tired of everybody saying it. But I just gotta know if you really, really, really love me. Could you imagine saying that to somebody? Take it easy, Paul. Do you love me? I want you to. Okay. Well, now that you said that, I feel awkward. Do you love me, Paul? How come you're charging me to listen to you sing? If you love me so much, why don't you give us something for free? How many thousands of dollars have I given to Paul Stanley? Oh, whoa, oh, what? Oh, wow. Yay, Michael and music. Oh, you know what we didn't do? Duck on it. We had a whole song ready. Nanaboozhoo, do you want to get your microphone and do the whole intro song?
Well, okay.
All right, we're going to try something here. I'm not promising it's going to work. But we'll see ya after the song. Hookah, hey, where is it now? Wanted a piece of blueberry pie, so I went up and I asked this guy. He only spoke Ojibwe, so I had to say, Mina bashki mina sakani, batuza chikani, bakwe shikani, mina bashki mina sakani, batuza chikani, bakwe shikani.
One word, I never meant one word. I never meant one word. I said, I never meant one word. I never meant one word. I never meant one word. I said, now you're so sorry. I never treat you like that again. I never meant one word. I never meant one word. I never meant one word. I never meant one word.
I used to sit up at night
Oh,
just so I could watch you. I wrote on my bedroom wall,
Natasha loves you too. One word, one word, one word I said. One word, I never meant one word. I never meant one word I said. Oh,
Yay! Michael Lyons on the guitar. Nice job, buddy.
I couldn't find my harmonica. But I never meant one word. Tomorrow we'll have a real song ready for you. Huh? Whoa! Well, that looks like it's all the time we have for today. I want to say miigwech, ganawabieg. Thank you for watching. BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. This has been BOOZHOO, the early morning Bamadazi Zibi, the early morning live stream. And I'll see you again tomorrow, you guys. Gigawabamin. Minowa. Hoa. And live stream. Never thought that a girl like you could ever feel